Today, 45 minutes with you guys. We're going to go through what looks different in the FR web. I'm Summer Watson. I'm the lead support here at interRel Consulting. I run our support division. We support many of our clients that have gone live. And what we do is we make sure that if they have problems, we fix it. I also have Stan joining me today, and Stan is also our lead trainer. And so we decided to co-host this and take the knowledge that we have from FR from many years ago. Stan and I go way back to what it looks like now. I want to talk about Oracle just for a few, interRel for a few minutes. We're the 5-time EPM and Analytics Partner of the Year, award-winning partner, North American partner. I'm sure you guys have seen this slide with all of our other presentations, but for those that are new, I wanted you to see this as well. And with interRel here, we're very, we're dedicated to being the best at everything that we can possibly be. We have the most experienced EPM Cloud specialist, ESSCS, EPBCS, FCCS, and now we have up to 6 ACE directors and Oracle ACEs within our company. One thing also that we love about interRel is we're trying to make the world a smarter place. It also helps me become a smarter person, right? So we have weekly educational webcasts. We have several books, the Look Smarter Than You Are book series. We have virtual conferences. We have our Play It Forward videos. If you go look out there on YouTube, we have Play It Forward videos that cover everything from calc scripts to creating a financial report. And we also have the interRel Finance News information that we've given you. We started this when all this COVID stuff hit, and we wanted you to be informed of the financial news out there so that you can also make smarter decisions within your corporation. All right, so financial reporting in a nutshell. What is financial reporting? That's the tool that's been around since the beginning of time. And it's for what I've always said, your pretty reports. So the module is primarily utilized for highly formatted reports. So if you think about the reports that you're going to have to give to your executives, this is the report tool that you typically have used throughout the years if you've used anything from the Hyperion world, which of course is now in the Oracle world. It allows you to create books and batches. You can schedule processes. You can edit. It integrates with Office using SmartView. The new web designer and charting engine is available. It's embedded reporting within an EPM Cloud instance. Use this option if on-prem and or legacy. So the cool thing is that with the new financial reporting web, you can use it with on-prem, but you can also, if you're still using on-prem, you can use it in the cloud, all right? Main reporting solution before we had narrative reporting. So those of you, I've been in this industry for almost 20 years, and financial reporting has gone back that far, and it really hasn't changed a whole lot. I think it's just gotten better, easier for people to use. The whole purpose of the tool, once you get to learn it and know how to use it, it's a really effective tool. So what happens if you go to the cloud? Well, first of all, you don't have to mess with those pesky installations. I don't know about you guys, but every time I would have to do a new installation of Studio, something would go wrong. I'd be missing a driver, or maybe I had the wrong version of something on my machine, and it was typically a hassle. So the best thing I can tell you is going to the web, again, for on-prem or our cloud customers, is that using the cloud instance for FR, it keeps you from having to install it on your machines. Plus, if your machines are locked down by your IT department, it also keeps you from having to log a ticket with them to get them to install it for you. It's web-based reporting. It behaves similar to web-based reporting Studio. So the web, everything that you've seen and know and loved about the Studio, or maybe have a love-hate relationship, but everything about the Studio that you've seen, it's in the web. All right, so the same way of building your reports and adding content and adding headers and footers and page breaks, and all of that is still there in the web, okay? The current release of the web includes most of the functionality, except for the ability to edit multiple reports at the same time. It's available for on-prem customers and EPM Cloud customers. Financial reporting for legacy cloud subscriptions, it's FCCS, PBCS, EBPCS with no additional costs. So when you purchase your cloud product, it comes with it. If you've subscribed and will subscribe to Oracle EPM Enterprise, you would use narrative reporting and management reporting. And we'll get to that a little bit towards the end of the slides. So what's the same? All right, well, if you take a look, and we're going to go do a little demo here at the end, but what's the same between the studio and the web is the ability to create highly formatted financial and operating reports against your data sources. So nothing's changed there. You can still pull the data from your, I'm sorry, I feel like this is moving around, or maybe I'm moving around. Sorry. You can still pull your data from HFM or planning or Essbase. You can also pull it from FCCS, from PBCS. So your data sources don't change. In both, you can still create books and batches. You can still edit permissions. So if you've created a report and only a certain number of people need to see it, still have the same process of going in and setting permissions for those reports. You can schedule your batches. You have a bunch of reports that need to run month end, quarter end, year end. You can schedule those to run overnight so that they dump in everyone's inbox the next morning and they don't have to slow anything down for you guys during the day while you're working. You can still do your formulas, you can still do your functions, and you can still have multiple grids within your report. And if you see here, I added some nice little friendly pictures to show you what's available on the desktop and what's available on the cloud. And in this instance, these are available on desktop and cloud. And as you can see, they will still give you the nicely formatted reports. Also, what's similar? The similar layout and similar concept. You have your dimensions, your layouts, your points of view, your properties pane, you have the menu across the top. So remember with the studio, everything has properties, the same as for the web. Everywhere you click, right, you're going to see a properties on the right pane. You also have your menus at the top. So if you're one of those with the studio that when you right-clicked, you won't see that right-click functionality as the same, but you will see it across the top if you use the menu bar. So at the top with the menu, we say insert grid or insert picture. Those things are still the same. Two ways to access your reports from the cloud is if you go to from your main landing page when you log in, you have your reports. And also at the top left, some of us, it's called the navigator. I call it pancake, hamburger. But when you go there, also you can see your reports to click on to go see the actual reports. That's not where you build the reports, okay? But that's where you go view them in the cloud. So that is different because on-prem, remember, you go to Workspace and go to Explore to see your reports. In the Reporting Web Studio, it does have a new look and feel. So once you get in there, you're going to say, this looks nothing like what I've been using with the desktop. And that's okay. Remember, we talked about the functionality is still the same, right? So you have the new Object Navigator. So what they've done is they've got the header, the body, and the footer all under report, and you can go in and build each section out from the navigator option, okay? So what's the same? All drop-down options, we talked about that earlier. You can select insert an object that you want to insert. So the same is still with the cloud and on-prem. You can insert a grid, text, image, chart, saved object, row, and columns. So none of, and the formatting, the edit, the view, that's all the same. Reporting Web Studio, what is different? Now you can click on the icon to the right of the header, body, and footer. So instead of right-clicking like you would in the studio, in the cloud, on the Web Studio, you would click on the little save, it looks like a little save button with a plus. When you click on that, that gives you your options to insert the object, grid, and chart, image, or text. Again, you can also use the menus at the top for insert and insert those same things, okay? You can add a grid by connecting to a data source. That's with the cloud and the desktop. You can choose the layout of the dimensions. That's the same process, the same method between cloud and desktop. But now on the cloud, you click on the grid in order to edit the members. So you would actually click on the grid that you want to edit under the word body. And then on the right-hand side, you would see your grid come up. You can double click on the members within that grid to go in and edit the member properties. You can also update the headers and footers. So this is a little different, right? So if you look at what was on-prem on the left-hand side on your desktop, for the whole report, it would show on the right-hand side, you could increase the header and footer. On the cloud, it's at the very top. So if you looked at the screen that I had before, it had report at the top. You can also change the name of that. When you save it, it's going to show up at the top. When you click on that, that's when you get your report properties to change that header and footer. And we always know that that's important because when we start adding graphs and pictures and charts to our report, it's kind of important to make sure that we don't flow into those headers and footers, especially when we want our reports to print out real nice. You still have functions in the headers and footers. That's all the same. You can create the dynamic reports by adding the headers based on dimensionality. You can add the dates and the times. So if you look under a header, right, so this is a little different as well. In order to add headers, you have to click in the navigator pane under header, click the plus, and then you can go in and add a logo, a header text box, or any functions that you would like to add. Same for your footer. So at the bottom, in this instance, if we wanted to create a footer, we would click on the save and the plus sign, and it would add, then we would go to the right-hand side and add the functions that we wanted to see. So the functions and headers or footers are the same, just getting to them are a little different, okay? Relationship functions. This is also a little different. They're still there because they're important, right? Whenever you change something in your outline, you want it to automatically flow through with your reports. Going in and cherry picking 30,000 accounts, it's an exactly fun job. So where do we change these? Well, remember the desktop version, when you went in, you had that little function button in the middle, and it would pull up children and the descendants, and that's where you could choose your members. Now it's above the members, all right? So if you look to the right-hand side at the cloud, you would select the member that you're gonna add the relationship to, and then the little arrow right above, that's where you get your drop-down menu. And then there you can say the children and descendants of your P&L statement, balance sheet, certain entities, departments, etc. Okay? So why do we use relationship functions? It's the same. It's the same reason why we did on-prem. We have it creates our dynamic reports, adding relationship functions, reports based on changes in the underlying queue. You know, you want to work smarter, not harder, right? That's what we always say. And so that's why we use relationship functions. They are the same between the two. And like I said, it's just a different way of getting between them. Also, it's a little sneaky with the advanced options. If you know that you can't select the level 0 of a roll-up, right, within financial reporting. So sometimes you have to go in and say, I want to look at the level 0 of all of my accounts and the descendants of my expenses. That's a way to get our level 0s of an alternate of a roll-up within our outline. Well, if you look at the on-prem, you know that you have the little right, you see at the top of the screen, it's a little more intuitive to find it and go to your advanced options. In the cloud, it's a little sneaky. So when you move members to the right, if you look right above, there's 3 bars and an arrow, and you want to click on that arrow, and that's going to show you your advanced options. And from there, you can do the conditions of and or. You have a properties panel. So everywhere you click, as we remember on-prem and in the studio version, everywhere we click, we get properties. The same is true for the cloud. Again, it's just a little different. So in this instance, in order to go in and edit the grid, right, so we would click on the grid underneath the body, and we would see the grid to the right, and then we can go in and there's our properties everywhere we click. So if we clicked on row 2, we would see row 2 properties. If we clicked on A4, we would see cell properties. All right, so your properties are still there. Sometimes you may have to use that plus and minus on the right-hand side to see all of your properties, but they're still there. And we will demo this and show you where these things are. Charting is much different, but it's also much better. So on-prem, again, we have our charts. In the cloud, though, we still have our charts, and they're easier to use. They're more intuitive. They work better, and they're easier to display on when we're reporting. Creating books and batches. It's still there, right? That's important. We want to be able to create our books of our reports and our executive reports. We want to be able to schedule them to be dumped at a certain time. With the on-prem, the studio, if you go to your workspace, it's under File, New Documents, right? If you go into the cloud, you're going to have to go to your Explore repository. So you'll have Explore repository and Reporting Studio. The Explore repository is where you go in and see all the reports. From there, you select File, New, and Document. So what about the future of FR? I'm glad you asked. On-prem, financial reporting will not go away. So if you go to 11.2, Financial Reporting Studio is still there. You can still download and install the desktop if you want, right? But you also have the option to still use the cloud if you prefer. Financial reporting will be done via management reporting through the cloud. That's the future. Narrative reporting contains management reporting module, and it's the future direction of formatted reports in the cloud. We don't have a date yet. No date has been confirmed, but it's definitely going away. The FR Web Studio and management reporting look really similar, and the migration utility to migrate reports from FR to MR. And there are steps right now out there that do show you how you can go ahead and convert some of your FR reports to management reporting if that's where you've headed already in your company. So narrative reporting, it's a cloud solution. It gives you narrative reporting solutions. It's standalone. It does not require EPM, right? Flexible, collaborative. It's a regulatory filing solution. It works with any Excel supported data source. You have process management oversight and visibility. And then it also includes the management reporting. So the whole purpose of the narrative reporting, it's Oracle strategic reporting for the solution for the future. And what it does is it takes your FR reports, but it also it's a more collaborative effort across the team, across the people that are bringing the data together to where you can add more context and more information to your reporting. So it's the new cloud product offering. It's already included in EPRCS. Its supported data sources are the EPM Cloud, on-prem Essbase, and the Fusion Cloud. It's the competitor to financial reporting, same basic principles of FR, recycling many of the same functions. So we're not losing that, and direct migration path from FR. It's built upon a forward-looking platform, already includes chart features that FR does not include, and we've known for the longest time that FR was not known for its charts, right? It was known for its pretty reports. So that is something to look forward to. It has better looking charts with management reporting. Includes content from multiple EPM Cloud products in a single report. You can design and preview the results. You have freeze headers in the HTML multi-grid reports. And the biggest value is that it features beyond financial reporting. It's your EPM BI cloud data sources, and it's all of that comes together in your centralized reporting. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to turn this over to Stan, and Stan's going to take us to the cloud and show us some of these places that we've talked about, so that not only you've heard me discuss it, you'll be able to see exactly where they are when he points them out to us.
So welcome everybody. I appreciate you being here, and I'm going to show you the Financial Reporting Web Studio here today and try to highlight some of the things that just look a little bit different, but in high level they are the same. Some of you may have seen my face before over the last 20 years. I have taught with Hyperion and Oracle, and now with interRel. And I started working with the financial reports when it first was released, and I actually toured internally with Hyperion demonstrating the 2.1 or 2.2 version of the financial reports. So working with it a long time, and boy, was it improved. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And let's make sure that, there we go. You should be seeing my, I've already logged into EPM Cloud, EPBCS. And to view reports, what a user would do is simply from the home screen, go to the reports, what they call card, and we don't create folders here, but users can see the reports that they've been granted permission to, and select a report and the buttons to preview in either HTML or PDF or a quick report to Excel. That's the name of this report, but send it to Excel are my options. So if I click HTML, I'm previewed the point of view first, and then assuming everything's going to stay the same, I just click continue. So even when this is rendered in an HTML form, still looks the same, but the preview window is a little bit different than it was in the studio. I can still change the point of view up at the top. And if I wanted to toggle over to PDF or to Excel, then this little drop down in the upper left will let me do the toggle. Now in the PDF display, then I have the option of showing a sidebar, and I can navigate from page to page over here, or I can change back to HTML. When I'm all said and done, there is a close button. And that actually returns me back to my point of view if I wanted to change it and see another preview. Or if I click back, this little POV box will disappear. Now, this is how users can very easily display or look at the reports that have been shared to them. But if I wanted to create or edit reports, then I would need to go to the navigator, and some are called this the hamburger or the pancakes. I sometimes call it bacon because bacon's good anytime. And here's where I can enter the reporting web studio. Now this will open up another window on top of my cloud web login, my home screen. And you have to be sure that you don't have pop-up blockers enabled in order for this to pop up on top. So I did myself have to disable the pop-up blocker the first time to say allow from this site. We can still see the repository over at the left, but the only things I can do here is I can create a new folder in this window, and I can create new reports. However, if I needed to create books and batches, I would have to go over to the Explorer tool and do that work. The other thing we know is different, that I can only open up one report at a time in this interface to work with. So doing a new report, and I'm not gonna complete this, but I'll show you how easy it is. Just a file new report or folder. The new report appears, and then I can still see my header body and footer area. We also have this new, what I call object navigator on the screen, and I can now insert a grid into the body or into the headers and footers. We can insert images and texts. So only grids and charts can go into the body area, which has always been true. Again, choosing a data source is the first step. And then I get my little dimension layout, just like we always have, where I can drag and drop dimensions into the rows, columns, pages, or whatever I don't move will remain in the point of view. So I'll just quickly move some things. Minimum, we have to have at least one dimension in the row and at least one dimension in the column. And then I can click OK. So from here, I can now start selecting my members. So I no longer see the report layout. I don't see the header and footer area. So we only concentrate on one object at a time and navigate using this little navigator over at the left. To go back, I can click on report 1. And once I save this, then I'll see the name of the report. So I can choose where to save it. And then the name of the report will appear in this object navigator. So if I click on the name, then I can go back and insert objects in the header, the body, or the footer. Now, instead of continuing this, let me go back to grid 1. If I double click on the dimension, then this is pretty much the same. We can still search for members just like we could before. And here is that little relationship tool that Summer was describing. So what's a little different is we have to set the function first. So if I ask for the children inclusive, then I can navigate to the members that I want. So if I select OFS net income with children inclusive and then move that to the right, that's how I build a relationship function in this interface. And again, to take something away, I check mark it and use the arrow in the center to remove it from the right-hand side. Let me save what I have so far, and I'm going to close this report and navigate to a report that I had built for my demonstration. So I can save my changes, and then I will close this report and navigate over to my quick report. So just one click will open up the report for editing. And this has some existing objects in it. So again, if I wanted to edit any of the objects, I have to select the object first. And then I can, for instance, click in the corner, just like always, to display grid properties over in the right-hand side. Or if I click on row 1, the row 1 properties, or column A properties, etc. Some things that work just slightly differently also is how to set the point of view in this window. So this is the user point of view at this point. If I click on one of the point of view dimensions, I can change the point of view. But then if I want to move to another dimension, I can choose it through the drop down, but clicking apply will then set the change for this dimension. And if you notice, it changes up here behind the scenes, and then I can move to the next dimension and make a change. So this little apply selection button is a little bit different, but very intuitive. Now I'm going to go ahead and go back to my original scenario because I know that's where the data is. Realistic demonstration of member selection with functions. If I want to remove these selections, there is a quick check mark to select all at once, and I can remove them all from the right side. And then I can choose children, and you can select one or more members, and they will all have the children selected. Just check mark them. And as I move these 4 check marked, they all come across as children of the item that I had selected. Now for this one, with that little change, I'll click OK and then do a save as so that I don't overwrite my original report. As far as working with text boxes, and I'll demonstrate charts in just a little bit, but we can insert items, as Summer pointed out, by adding the objects over in this navigator. And then once I select that object, I can do my editing within, including the insert function button is still present over in the properties panel for text boxes. And these functions are identical. In fact, I've seen that they've even added some functions which may or may not be listed in this insert function dialog box. So do look at your documentation, and for whatever reason, Oracle never got around to adding every one of the available functions into the insert function dialog box. There are some more out there that once you learn them, you can also use them in the text areas of your financial reports. We can still preview the reports from here. I do have buttons to do PDF preview and this actually opens up a window on top of my design window. So when I am done previewing the reports, I just close this entire browser window and that will expose my design mode, which was behind it. Same thing with the web preview. So it always helps to do both previews when designing reports to make sure that everything's going to fit on the screen that you intended to, and then take appropriate action. And again, this opened up on top of my design window. I'm going to close this report. And sure, I'll save changes. I did a report with charts called Quick Sales. And if I wanted to edit, for instance, this text box up in the header area, I can select that object. I'll highlight the text real fast and center it. Also, over in the text properties, I should have my position category. So, and I can make sure that the entire text box is centered across between the margins. So that's already set that way. The charts themselves, if I come down and select the chart object and go into formatting the chart, we do have still the basic chart types, bar, line, pie, combo, and formatting the charts. Pretty much the same, different tabs across this top. And I can go ahead and, for instance, make this a 3D shadow and click OK. And again, it always helps to preview, see what it looks like. So I'll do my web preview here and just be patient while it renders. And there we go. Go from page to page. Last of all, I wanted to close this report, and actually I can close the report and exit from the web studio. So there is, if I do file exit, it's just exiting the web studio, which uncovers my home, my EPBCS home screen. And now if I go to Navigator and go to the Explore repository tool, again, I can maximize this window. It's just going to be on top of my home page for my EPBCS login. And this is where I can also add folders. This is the screen where you would organize reports if you wanted to move them, delete them, and so on. This is also the place where you can add security to the different report folders or objects. And as Summer pointed out, this is where we come to, if I ask for a new document, and I'm not going to go through this, but the documents that are being referred to are either books or batches. And this is the place that I would create those type of objects through the web. So I'm going to cancel this. I'll close that little tab to uncover my Explorer. If anybody has any questions, please post to the chat area. If there's anything you were curious about or wanted to see, I'd be happy to show it. But Summer and I thank you for your time and hope you picked up a little bit of less intimidation about working with the web studio. I hope you saw how really similar it is. Just a few minor adjustments and you can be working, creating reports or editing reports very easily in this interface. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
It looks like we do have one question, Stan. I'm not sure if you saw it or not. It says, can you rotate the text in a text box?
We currently cannot. That's still not an option to have the like 45-degree angle or vertical text. Any other questions? So I know there's a few people in the audience that we have talked to in the past and they're saying hello. I appreciate that.
No other questions? Well, and, oh, go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you'll see in the break where you can go to get the deck. So if you do want to go get the deck, just so that you have it, a little handy deck next to you to show you, oh yeah, this is where I need to go find this, and the cloud, you can go download it, and we'll have it up there, what, tomorrow, Trisha, maybe?
Well, I know they're recording the sessions. I'm not sure if the decks will be available, but the recordings will be available a week to 2 weeks after the conference.
Perfect. Well, then there you go.
All right. Well, thank you guys for a great presentation. Enjoyed it. And thank you everybody for joining.